Hello, everybody, and welcome to the March mail call in April of 2018. And I hope that your April is off to a banging start. You know, T.S. Eliot, the often dreary English poet, very famous English poet, was remarked to have said, April is the cruelest month. And well, big tax bills coming and a multitude of other factors. Yeah, it's usually a month that if something bad's going to happen during the year, it usually happens in April. Let's hope this year nothing bad happens. Anyway, guys, let's get to part one of the mail call. We had the trip. We had a lot of stuff going on here. We've had some stuff with neighbors and midnight confrontations with neighbors. It's been very interesting. Let's get right to it. Part one. This is person. Thank goodness spring is here. I'm always curious as to how you get the confidence to wear such sexy bikinis. Confidence or stupidity? I don't, I don't know. It's just something that I enjoy very much. I've always been very body conscious all my life, very athletic, and I've kind of taken it as a personal challenge to try to stay in the best shape that I can for as long as I can, and then I'll eat everything in sight. And well, you know what'll happen there. No, but I don't think it's really a question of confidence per se. I think it's a question of just feeling comfortable within yourself and secure in your own being. Yeah, I often get trashed for what I wear, but I keep bouncing back because it's something called self-actualization. The feedback loop of feeling good about yourself. So I don't really need a lot of outside validation, to do what I do. I just know what feels good to me, and celebrating the body has always been a top priority. Let's see, number two, you mentioned your friends back in China. Don't they send you new stuff to wear? And don't they have more than a thimble full of material to make something for you to wear? Love the gold, by the way. Well, you've got to remember, my friends and I went through a lot of stuff and had a lot of fun in China. And it's not the kind of society if you're a cross dresser and stuff, it's not really easy to be yourself there. In other words, if you feel like you're trans or you have leanings that way, the degree of suppression is very high. Chinese culture is one that uniformity is valued, and it really is the nail that sticks out that gets hammered. So my friends, knowing that I'm a Westerner and hanging out with them, they always took great joy in sort of living vicariously through me and uh, watched me change over the years. I've been on the hormones for more than 10 years, and obviously the changes have been dramatic, and they've always taken some kind of vicarious pleasure in dressing me, but not in things, not in full dresses, but their goal has been the skimpier the better. And last year I had to kind of put the brakes on and said, if it fits in a thimble, it's too little for me to wear. So I think they're retooling this year. Thank you about the gold. I love the metallic. I love the metallics. Let's see. Number three, why did you go so far on your recent trip? Was the travel tiring? What was the best place to stay as far as hotel chains? What was the worst value? There's a lot of questions in there. Why did we cover far? Because I wanted to get a really good overlay, as did Missy Jen, and what's out there in America. And we concentrated on the mid to southern tier of the United States, and we got a real good idea of what was appealing to us and what was not. So an overview like that has a lot of value to it. Was it tiring? I would say that we never pulled into a hotel where we just felt like only one night we pulled in and we were just too tired to have dinner or anything. But otherwise, things were paced out pretty well. We'd get up, have breakfast, and get an early start. And then usually by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock, we'd be off the road. So we feel like we had some of our day to enjoy, to get out and see some things, even though we were on a very fast pace. The best place to stay for us, and we did a separate video, was the Hyatt Place. They were outstanding. They give you great breakfast. They're clean, they're modern, the rooms are amazing, and sometimes less than you would pay for other hotels. Bad values for me, Best Westerns I thought were really chewed up. They're so, it's individual franchisees and some care and some don't. And, the one in Tallahassee was particularly blown out. And it's like we went out of our way to start seeking out Hyatt places. So they were really not the great value. So I get this asked a lot. Are you a she-male? And of course, a she-male is noted in the adult entertainment world for kind of being the best of both worlds. The body that looks totally female, but the functionality, if you know what I mean, of the male. So it's a question that I've gotten on YouTube for 5 years because I think in a lot of ways within the bottom of YouTube in particular, I most exemplify what people think of as being a she-male, but it really has more to do with being an adult entertaining and all that. So my boyfriend and I are curious because you look like one as far as what we see on here and what we watch in movies. Yeah, I get that a lot all the time. So, I've always said that some people within the trans community get disparaged, whether they're dressers. There's often a thought that unless you go all the way and complete your transition, that you're not fully, you're not a real true transgender. But the bottom line for me has been the umbrella should be very wide and it should be encompassing. And with that umbrella, if somebody identifies as being an adult entertainer or a she-male in that, it's all falls within the umbrella of being trans, whether people like it or not. That's the beauty of inclusion for the community. But I certainly, I may appear that, but I don't think that I really am because I'm not into I entertain just as far as on YouTube. There were a lot of questions. I was surprised on that. You changed a lot over the last year. Here's the next question from Pat in Pittsburgh. You changed a lot over the last year compared to years ago. The feminization is much more pronounced now, particularly the body. I am early in my transition and I'm curious because I thought changes were over in 2 years. Actually, they just continue. When you're on feminizing hormones, of course, the first 2 years you're going to see probably 75% of the change. But over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to close that gap on the 25% and bring that up maybe up to 90%. But it's a very, very slow process. For me, myself, I had a big, growth spurt and a surge in feminization that occurred in 2016, which was very welcome to me. If you look at particularly facially some of my earlier videos of 2013 and 14, the changes have been pretty remarkable. So hormones continue to work over time, but they work best under a doctor's care where you're being monitored and the doctor can do adjustments and things. And make sure you're happy. Make sure you get counseling. Okay. Let's see. Why would you buy? This is Fran says, why would you buy a place in Clearwater, Florida, instead of considering Arizona, Texas, and other places in Florida? Well, we've not made up our mind. One of the things that we're going to do when we retire is we're going to pack up and we're going to be on the road. And we're going to take our time moving back with the doctor's blessing and, about Jen traveling and stuff, make our way back east. And we're going to try to explore some places along the way. So we've kind of changed from being a dedicated 3 months in Florida to maybe ending up being, maybe a week here or a week there, which is real time to enjoy stuff. Maybe starting, Yuma, Arizona, and then working down through Texas and all in those areas, down in Galveston, Beaumont, all on the coast there, and then across, spending some time in Louisiana before we get to Florida. And we'll have more time to check things out there. But we do want to spend at least, I would say, 6 weeks to 2 months in Florida. So, well, we may change our mind along the way. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for being along for part one of the mail call for March of 2018 in April. More to come. Thanks so much.